top 5 this year. That's very, very impressive.
Dodge has been the dominant force in the first 6 events. However, this Chevrolet, the Net Zero machine of Jack Sprague, set on the pole at Darlington a week ago. They had trouble with a tire problem going in the pits. They had a flat tire after the red flag. They ended up finishing in 12th spot. But this team is pumped. Talking about the Net Zero team, Dennis Conner and company for Jack Sprague, and he is dogging Riggs in the turn.
He just turns down underneath him in the center of the corner. Now let's see if we can stay with him up off the corner. He stays with him, see if we can beat him down in the turn 3. The groove actually looked like it's moved up there in 3 and 4. You see Scott Riggs is really doing a good job on the outside, is able to stay ahead of Jack Sprague.
And Riggs showing a lot of muscle in that Arrington engine. Let's check in the Riggs pits with Amy.
Well, this is similar to what we saw in Happy Hour yesterday because Scott Riggs, although he was atop the speed chart, it was hard for him to consistently run fast laps. His times would drop off about 0.2 of a second, but Jack Sprague would not. He could consistently run quick laps over and over, and that is why he's the odds-on favorite. Right now, Jack is complaining of a slightly tight condition, while Riggs slightly loose. So a great battle between these two very tough trucks.
And Amy, take a look at Joe Ruttman. He enters the picture up high in the Dana Dodge. Here comes Ruttman on the outside.
Great move by Joe Ruttman. That's what's nice about this racetrack. There's almost 3 complete different grooves.
Ruttman, who's the oldest winner in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history, won the opener at Daytona at 56 years, 4 months of age. His only win thus far, of course, his truck owner, Bobby Hamilton, dominated at Darlington last weekend. And Ruttman having a good run in Angel. It's the same truck at Hamilton. Led 133 laps in at Martinsville, only to have a rear-end gear problem.
There we go, side by side again. Jack Sprague down there. Jack Sprague is really, really good down in turn 1 and 2. He seems like he can pull up on the inside of Scott Riggs each time, but they get down in turn 3, and Scott can really hold his own on the outside.
Now, if you're Joe Ruttman, what do you do? So do I follow the Dodge? Do I follow Sprague? Do I go with the experience of Sprague? Do I go with the horsepower of the Dodge?
I think you want to follow Jack Sprague in turn 1 and 2, and then follow Scott Riggs in turn 3 and 4, but we'll see what Joe does.
All right, we're watching in 1 and 2. His truck slides up a little bit on the high side, although Ruttman seems to be running pretty well in that middle group.
He may make a 3-wide, knowing Joe Ruttman.
He wouldn't do that, would he? Here goes Sprague trying to make the pass.
You see, watch Jack Sprague move up now. He's trying to take Scott Riggs' groove away a little bit. There he is. He moved up enough to get Scott a little bit up higher than he wanted to be and was able to keep the pass.
Well, here on lap number 30, mark it down. Jack Sprague, 2-time series champion, takes the lead and now will lead his 71st lap of the season. And the Net Zero team have got to be pumped on pit road watching their 2-time titleist leading here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Back in a moment. Friday night tailgating, high-speed, high-banked action from the Monster Mile. How about a little pursuit here by Joe Ruttman in the Dana Dodge?
Was able to get by Scott Riggs while we were gone, passed him on the high side. Now he's in chase of Jack Sprague.
And speaking of Joe Ruttman, let's check in his pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, Ruttman's been on the radio saying the truck is just a little bit loose coming off. He's been trying some different lines out there, but one problem they've had is a possible overheating situation. He said the water temperature's up to 235 right now, so Danny Rollins told him try to get out and get as much clean air as possible, so getting by Scott Riggs was a good break for Ruttman.
I'm sorry, there you see him lapping Jerry Robertson in the 51 truck.
Danny Rollins told Joe he wants him to win today so he can get in victory lane and wish his wife happy anniversary, their 10th wedding anniversary today, and he's out here spinning it with the race team. How about Jim Englebright, the Jelly Belly Chevrolet? His sponsor, of course, the sponsor of the race, Herman G. Rowland Sr. and Jr. out of Fairfield, California. There's Jim, making his 3rd start this year, equaled his best finish of last year by finishing 15th at Mesa Marin.
It's Jimmy Hensley right in front of him in the 72 leftbehind.com truck with some local ties here.
Indeed, one of the authors of the Left Behind series lives in Colorado Springs, and so he is in attendance here today. That would be Jerry Jenkins, who co-wrote the 8-book series along with Tim LaHaye.
Trying to work underneath Nathan Bucky in the 81 truck.
And Watching that battle from Jim Englebright's onboard camera. Battle for fourth position. That is a pair of rookie drivers, not only battling for position, they are battling for the Rookie of the Year awards. In fact, last week, Travis Quapple was able to take the Rookie of the Year lead by 9 points over Ricky Hendrick. Quapple finished 6th at Darlington. Hendrick back in 34th after a cut left rear tire.
Been watching Ricky. He stayed right with Travis Quapple here for a number of laps. And again, as you mentioned earlier, this was the site of his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race back last year, and he finished 6th.
Right, started 11th, ran in the top 5. In fact, he smashed the wall when he cut a tire, lost a lap, made up the lap on the racetrack, and came all the way back to finish 6th. So Ricky Hendrick was very, very good here a year ago.
Here's bypassing Willie T. Ribbs on the 8 Dodge truck. Another one of Bobby Hamilton's team trucks.
Who just joined us, the rumor among Bobby Hamilton's teams is he may expand to as many as 4 trucks next year for 2002. Some of the rumblings are that they may even try to get a very familiar and very popular driver from here in Colorado to be one of those drivers. I won't mention who it is, but his initials are Rick Pirelli. 43 of 200 laps are in the books. They are chasing the 2-time champion Jack Sprague, who's never won here at Pikes Peak. We'll be right back. On a beautiful afternoon here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Glad to have you with us for the Jelly Belly 200. I'm Jerry Punch along with Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Amy East. As you watch Joe Ruttman, who is being shown as a leader, what happened to Jack Sprague? Well, a scary moment for Sprague trying to make a pass just moments ago.
Sound right there, Doc. You saw Jim Englebright. Jack Sprague had pulled on the inside of the lap, and Jim came down a little bit. We're going to see another view. Here's Ruttman after this has already happened. Here's Ruttman. It killed so much of Jack Sprague's momentum that Joe Ruttman was able to pull up beside him.
See, I know what happened. Some jelly beans fell off the deck lid of Englebright's, and Sprague slipped on the jelly beans.
That could have been it. That could have been it.
We'll ask him.
There are a lot of jelly beans on the back.
A lot of them there. Ruttman is our leader, and for the first time in Joe Ruttman's career, he is leading at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Ruttman has led 106 laps this year, but had not led since Martinsville Speedway back on March 17th. Just joined us, there have been 3 leaders. There have been 2 lead changes. Scott Riggs, our points leader, led the first 29 laps, then Jack Sprague the next 15, and now Joe Ruttman has led the last 5.
Joe was really making that outside groove work for him. Like he said, it was a little bit loose in the center of the corner. So way up next to the gray, which is where the trucks have not been yet. So he's using a lot of the racetrack.
There is Sprague, the separation. You can see it's about 5 truck lengths. That's 0.6 of a second on the stopwatches.
A lot of times, Doc, you can drive the truck up there where it's gray, where there's not a lot of rubber put down, and you actually will get a little bit better bite because there's no rubber there.
Indeed, here's a battle for 4th position. Again, the rookies battling. Quapple in the 60. Ricky Hendrick. GMAC truck back in the 5th position. Pretty good night for Team Hendrick. Congratulations to Jeff Gordon and the DuPont team on winning the Winston All-Star race. At Lowe's Motor Speedway, Rick Hendrick able to watch his son now maybe try to get his first win, or at least get a win for the team, because Jack Sprague running 2nd, Ricky Hendrick running in 5th spot.
Jack pulled right back up on Joe Ruttman's dump bumper here. He gained that 5 or 6 truck lengths that he was behind. I don't think Jack likes to run 2nd.
Well, you don't win 19 races in this series by liking to run 2nd. I think Jack Sprague wants to be out front. He's been frustrated through 6 events. The Dodgers have really been the horses to chase since the season began in Daytona. They've won 5 of the 6 poles in all 6 events, and now Sprague says, I need to change that. Dodgers never won here, though, by the way. Their best finish at this racetrack was 5th in all 3 previous years. We've had 2 wins by Chevrolet, and last year Greg Biffle dominated, driving for Jack Roush.
Actually had a 1-2 finish for Roush last year. Rookie Kurt Busch was second. Talking about the truck being a little bit tight in the center, that means it doesn't want to turn as well as he would like, and then he's a little bit loose up off the corners. So he's making it work pretty well right now.
So the drivers on the move. How about Dennis Setzer from 16th spot all the way into the top 10? Trying to be very careful to take care of those tires from the Axiom Chevrolet. Lance Hooper driving for Joey Sontag. Good run for the former Winston West Series champion. Up 10 spots to 15. And Tom Carey, it is so good to see Tom Carey out of Orange, Mass. back in the NASCAR Craftsman truck. So that's Tom in the 03 right there, making his first start this year. The EJP Healy and Associates Chevrolet, a team based in Gardner, Maine. Tom Pearl and company getting it dialed in for Tom Carey.
Great to see him. He actually works right now for Andy Santerre on his Busch team. Tom lives in Mooresville, North Carolina, and works for Andy Santerre full time.
And here is Coy Gibbs, who had been running in the top 10 and suddenly began to slow. Right down left, what's the problem?
Broken valve spring, Jerry, is the problem there. Coy said the truck was handling really great, but as soon as that valve spring went, he lost a lap. Now he'll lose another and probably a couple more. Engine trouble for Coy Gibbs.
And a tough break for Coy Gibbs, who's had really strong engines all year long. Dennis Fisher builds a very stout motor, so that is extremely rare to have a Dennis Fisher engine have a problem. So hopefully they'll get that rectified and maybe get him back on the racetrack.
You know, we were looking during one of the breaks, and he was up there running with Dennis Setzer, who was up in the top 10, and then all of a sudden he wasn't with him anymore. So that's what happened. He broke a valve spring and then just killed so much of the horsepower.
Lance Norrick is on the inside, and they were going to go 3 wide. Norrick in the Aventis Bearing Helix 8. Machine, number 90. And the leaders are able to go by. Norrick was actually being shown in the 16th position as Ruttman and Sprague are lapping cars. Now only 15 trucks, I should say, are on the lead lap, with the 73 of Lance Hooper being shown in 15th spot.
Well, they're setting an incredible pace right now. They put so many good trucks a lap down. I talked to a lot of the guys. We talked about the pit window being around 75, 80 laps, but I talked to actually some of the Chevrolet guys, not Dennis Conner, who's trying, again, Jack Sprague trying to get on the inside of Joe Redman, but they were talking about maybe only being able to go 60, 65 laps on fuel, where Dennis Conner told me he thought they could run at least 80 laps. So there's a big disparity on how far these guys can go on fuel.
I guess horsepower makes those engines very thirsty. You see Sprague slipping a little bit already, just back into that truck, getting a little bit slippery. We have completed 60 of 200 laps. You got to believe that pit stops should be coming in the next 10 laps at least.
I'd say 10 to 15 laps anyway. I don't think they want to. They don't want to push it on that first time because they certainly don't want to run out of gas.
Well, Joe Ruttman is our leader. Sprague is second. Briggs, the point leader, is third, and a pair of rookies, Quaffle and Hendrick, rounding up the top 5 after 60 laps. Welcome back to the Jelly Belly 200 Pikes Peak International Raceway. Joe Ruttman showing the way, has now led 20 laps. 20 of the 64 laps we have run thus far. There are many special people who work behind the scenes in this Craftsman Truck Series. Let's hear from one in this week's edition of the Craftsman Pit Profile.
A year ago here at Pikes Peak International Raceway, a number of the Craftsman Truck Series teams had problems with their right side tires, and many of them had contact with the wall. Well, this year, Goodyear has brought a much harder tire to this track, and Billy Hodges is the service manager for Goodyear. Billy, what should we expect from this tire in today's race?
Well, today's we got a harder compound than what we did a year ago. We reduced our codes down from 35 down to 15. This tire is a particular tire that they ran 2 weeks ago at Gateway. They should be fairly familiar with this tire. They should be able to make stops, 2 left sides, 2 right sides, no tires at all. It should be able to go a full fuel stop or beyond that.
And we expect that to be at least 75 laps today at Pikes Peak.
And you got to give a call to Goodyear, Billy Hodges, Stu Grant, all the folks at Goodyear. This is an outstanding tire. Watching outstanding racing for the challenge for the lead, and not quite.
Another side-by-side. Jack Sprague has got side-by-side with Joe Ruttman a number of times. Is not quite able to pull it off. Joe keeps that truck on the outside, keeps it wound up. He gets a good run off the corner. Jack can make ground up through the center of the corner, but often keeps pulling away.
We had great side-by-side back there for 4th position a moment ago. They are still side-by-side. A pair of rookies wrestling for position. Rookie Ricky on the inside. Rookie Travis up high. GMAC and